So Breath of the Wild 2 is right around the corner, and a lot of fans were disappointed to see that there was no news about it in this latest direct, and instead we got Skyward Sword HD. But I have a lot to get off my chest about this. There's problems here in both camps, because the thing is this is a very, very important game to have modernized, and here's why. We have two different camps here. We've got the Breath of the Wild fans, the people who only entered the series in Breath of the Wild. And then you got your classic 3D fans like Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, etc., etc. In the Breath of the Wild camp, you have people who just expect Breath of the Wild 2, Breath of the Wild 3, Breath of the Wild 4, not that they've entered the series, this is all they know. And in the classic 3D camp, you have a bunch of people who just expect the same games getting ported to the new console every time. And in the Breath of the Wild camp, you have a bunch of people who are like, oh, what is this? This isn't Breath of the Wild. This is an older Zelda game? Ew. And in the classic 3D camp, you have a bunch of people who have never touched Skyward Sword with a 10-foot pole because they looked at it once, they said, ew, motion controls, and never looked at it again. And while I can't necessarily blame that mindset, as motion controls have been known to hinder some games, it did nothing but benefit Skyward Sword. Yes, there were issues with it. However, have any of you actually looked at a playthrough of it or anything? Because especially over there in the 3D camp, you guys should know that Skyward Sword is a true, worthy successor to your beloved 3D games. And to the Breath of the Wild fans, you need to understand that this is a series that has been going on for an incredibly long time and has and will evolve past Breath of the Wild. Zelda is so much more than just an open-world survival simulator. I'm serious about when I say this, but you could literally change the names and places in Breath of the Wild with anything else, and you could mistake it for a completely generic open-world survival game. Is it bad? No, not necessarily. I don't think it's a good Zelda game. I think it's a good game. But enough complaining about the Zelda fanbase. The main thing I wanted to talk about in this video is it's not just the fanbase that's the problem. You also have playability issues here. You see, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, in their original forms, were both playable and easily accessible because they ran very well on emulators, and it wasn't that hard to grab a Wii or a GameCube. However, they ended up getting HD versions on their second latest console there, on the Wii U. And they looked beautiful, they did more than just change the graphics, and they had $60 price tags, if you'll believe it or not. I don't see anyone complaining about that, right? Skyward Sword had no such look. Because it was so specifically designed for the Wii and the Wii Motion Plus, it was completely unplayable on emulators. And, well, if you wanted to play it normally, you'd have to get not only a Wii, but a Wii Motion Plus, and good luck finding one of those. And beyond playability and accessibility, it is a really good game to bridge the gap for Breath of the Wild fans. Because the thing is like I said, because a lot of Breath of the Wild fans expect survival elements and whatnot, they're going to be very disappointed if they go back and play the older games. They're just not Breath of the Wild. However, Skyward Sword has some of those elements. They do have the stamina, they do have collecting things to upgrade your gear and whatnot. And there's clearly Skyward Sword was the blueprint for Breath of the Wild, and that's what they originally aimed for moving forward. But I don't want to make this video very long, and that's really all I wanted to say. Put away your preconceptions, put away your bias. This is going to be a fantastic game for a lot of people to play. Not a lot of people have played Skyward Sword, and this will be a perfect opportunity for both camps. So, when you see it, grab it. Do I agree with the $60 price tag? No, not really. But, you know, it is what it is, and I think it is worth every single penny because it is a fantastic Zelda staple.